Hey, thank you for watching my video. So, yesterday night, I went through and I was checking out the Creality 3D viewer cam. There were some issues setting it up. Figured I'd go ahead and look at it again this evening. I got it working pretty good. The only issue that I found with it so far is the inability to actually upload files from the options that it gives you, like from the phone, from the SD card, from Dropbox, Google Drive. You can put the files directly on the camera, and then you can go ahead and print from there. Everything works fine. So I figured what I would do is start from scratch, make a quick setup video. That way everybody will know how to set it up from scratch. So we'll go ahead and we'll start doing that. There we go. So again, it's the Creality 3D viewer. The setup for it is a little tricky when you're reading the directions. When you actually go to do it, it's not really that bad. Let's see. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go ahead and start by setting up the cables. There's two ports on the back of the camera. There's the micro USB and the USB. USB goes to the printer. Micro USB is for external power. External power can be plugged into, a USB wall wart or whatever you want. I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in over here to the laptop. I have tested it. Laptop does provide it enough power. So then we have the camera. There is a green indicator light, which comes on showing that it is receiving power. Now, the directions tell you to hold the reset button on the back for 5 seconds until you hear voice prompts. I have still been unable to hear any voice prompts. What I do is I hold for 10 seconds. After about 10 seconds, I've noticed that the printer will actually restart. Let's just stick that right there for the moment. Now, once that's set up, you do need to get the application that you need. So inside the manual, there is a barcode for iOS or Android. You do have to have a barcode scanner. So it's just a basic barcode scanner. You can grab them in the stores. Scan it. The website takes you off-site. It does not go to the Play Store. Okay. And then you get an option to download. Gives you permissions. Accept. Now, typically what you would do here is you would go ahead and register. So I'm just going to go ahead Right. So once you're logged in, what you need to do is you need to change your Wi-Fi settings. So go into your phone, go into your Wi-Fi, and look for the IP cam. Well, I actually got out of the program, which means I actually need to go back. This is a step to take it that's a little complicated. You need to make sure that you don't get out of the app. My Wi-Fi back. So I'm still in the app, but now I'm actually connected to my house Wi-Fi or to the camera. So what I can do in here, let's see, we're going to click on plus. We're going to add new camera. We're going to click on search. We're going to add on the camera, the XL camera. All right, we're done. Shows that it's online. We're going to click here. We're going to go to Wi-Fi. And we're going to choose my Wi-Fi. I'm going to put in my password. All right, and you can also come back in here afterwards. It's actually connecting right now. You can actually go into those settings afterwards and change your username and password. I definitely recommend doing that. All right, so now it's connected to my Wi-Fi. So if I go back in here and I look, we're now on my Wi-Fi. We can get it to focus here. There we go. So we're connected to my Wi-Fi, but now we're still in the software. One second here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go in. We should have live video feed, which we do. We have live feed of the printer. Now, typically, you would think there is an option down at the very bottom here to add new file. You would think you'd be able to go in to add new file and add the file. It gives you options to do it, but every time you do it, it brings you right back to the empty list. So what you have to do is you have to take out the SD card, the micro SD card out of the camera. So it's the same one that comes with the printers. Load it up in whatever drive you want to use. Plug it into your printer. Just going to throw a couple G codes on there real quick. Okay. Get that back in there. So now we have some options over here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose the test dog. Gives me the option to either print or delete. I'm going to go ahead and print. Oh, I missed a step up here at the top. Once the camera's online, you do have to connect your printer. All right, print is connected. Now I can choose the test dog and print. I do get the option to stop or to pause. You'll see it set the temperature for the bed. The bed Yeah, so the other day when I was doing this, I was having an issue switching back and forth between my Wi-Fi and the camera Wi-Fi, trying to get it to work. You'd think that it would like try to auto-detect your Wi-Fi, let you put in the password, and just be done with it, but you have to bounce back and forth in order to get it to work. So, I mean, ultimately, the camera can be mounted anywhere. You obviously want to make sure that wherever you mount it, it's going to be out of the way. Here, it's going to be pretty safe. You know, the bed's not going to hit it. Sticking it here, obviously, if you're printing something large, the bed is going to reach out here and hit it at some point. I am going to leave it there just for the moment because I'm not printing anything full size. So that should work fine. So the bed's up to temperature, the nozzle's heating right now. You can actually probably use this and cheat a little bit. Let's see if it'll see the screen. There you go. So it doesn't give you a lot of information on the LCD when you're using the software. It's pretty similar to Octoprint in that sense. So it does tell me it's heating the extruder. Or I should say the hot end. The bed, it shows that it's heating the bed prior. While you're printing, it'll say that it's printing. It doesn't give you any any information as far as estimated time or anything like that. We're almost up to temperature. Now I have tried the pause and the stop, both function correctly. I'm going to go ahead and full screen it. The camera comes in really well. I have no complaints with the resolution. Excuse me. So I did notice that you can adjust the bed temperature, the hot end temperature prior to starting a print. You can also adjust the temperatures while you're inside the print if you're minimized. So if I go back here and I minimize, oops, I don't want to minimize that much. Give it a second to reconnect here. But you can go in and it'll show you the temperatures in here. So if I want to raise the bed temperature, punch it in. It does take a second. You can see here now it's 60. I do see on the screen. Just for a second. So I can see on here that it is 60 and it's going up. So I mean that does work pretty well. I don't want mine that hot. Now prior to printing, you can move the Z, the Y, the X. You can't do anything, while you're printing. Would be nice if they did have the options in here to baby step. If you could move the Z or adjust it while you're printing to go ahead and, get that set perfect. I know I like to do that on the printer while I'm printing. There is an option in here to have local video, local capture, remote playback, and information about the software. So the playback is so that when you're recording, when you go full screen, you can take photos, you can record. The one thing I did notice about the recording, if you're recording, you have to do it while your screen's maximized. If it's minimized, there's no way to record. Once you're recording, you cannot minimize it again until you stop the recording. If you try to bring it down, it's going to tell you to stop the recording first. So that recording gets stored. You can view it remotely. You can also save it locally. So really, I mean, it works well. I have no issue with it. It's quick, simple. The setup, they could tweak that a little bit to make it a little smoother. I've noticed a couple people. I did see Jim over on the Edge of Tech. He was setting one up and he was having some of the same issues that I had. I kind of wish I had seen his video before I messed with it. Would have saved me a little bit of a hassle. Yeah, I mean, it works well. I mean, am I going to replace my Octoprint setups with it? No, I'm probably not. But if you're just looking for something quick and simple that you can monitor the prints and turn them off and on, pause them when you want, you can do that. You can preload your G code onto the SD card of the camera. So that's kind of convenient. So you can start a print remotely. It just seems kind of lacking on some of the features, but if you're looking for something basic just for that, it's going to work fine. I mean, as you can see, the camera's fine. I mean, the lighting in here is not the best. I can grab a flashlight as long as I don't overexpose things here, but yeah, it's going to overexpose. So the camera itself is good. The lighting itself is bad. And of course, it's currently 12:30 a.m. So there's no external light coming in my window over here. Now, one thing I did notice, there is the ability to turn the fan off and on. You can do it before it's printing, you can do it while it's printing. That's perfectly fine. So if you want to turn off the cooling fan, you can. I do wish there was the ability to adjust the speed of the cooling fan. That would be pretty convenient as well. There is an option to run the app in the background. So if you're not recording video, you can actually back out of the app. Once you're back out of the app, it'll give you an option to either cancel it or to minimize. So when you go to quit, you can cancel and minimize. Let's see, what was there? yeah, the fact that on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and move this camera just for a second here. Oh, I'm upside down. So on the screen, if you're printing from the software, there's no option to cancel the print. The only way you can cancel the print is literally through the app or shutting your printer down. Now, the problem with shutting your printer down is if you shut your printer down without properly letting it cool down, you could cause a jam. And obviously you wouldn't want that. All right. And my printing is done behind me. So let's see. Switch this camera because this laptop camera is not the best. This is just an attempt playing around using one of the resin printers, the yellow goo. And what I did is I actually used the white resin, but just goofing around, I took some purple food coloring and I actually changed the color of the resin. And then after I knew it was printing and everything was working fine, you can see the base of it was purple. Once everything was working good, I went ahead and I just added a little bit of pink, a little bit of red, see if I could kind of marble it. Obviously the bed going up and down into it mixed it, so it didn't marble, but you can actually print different colored layers, so you can make different colored, pigments just by adding basic everyday food coloring to the white. I'm assuming you'd be able to do the same exact thing to the translucent. So it's kind of cool. You can make custom colors. You don't have to buy, 100 different colors. You can just buy a bunch of white and you're all set to go. So again, it's up and running. Everything's working. Like I said, the only issue that I see with it that, a function that it's supposed to have that it doesn't have is the ability to upload the G-code directly to it. And that's just not working. Whenever you click on it, all that happens is it lets you choose the file, and then it goes back to the main screen like it was, going to upload the file to the camera, but it doesn't do it. I don't know if that's a function that they're going to fix. It's a bug. I don't know if it's a function they planned on fixing and just put the button in early, which seems kind of silly. But other than that, the only other things I really have that I can say about it is the printer itself, or the camera itself. It gets a little warm. I mean, it doesn't get like uncomfortably hot. I mean, I'm not worried about it catching fire or anything, but it does get a little warm. I would relate it to being equivalent to like putting a cell phone on a charger. It does warm up a little bit. The other thing is I do want to make sure that you remember when you're doing the setup, go into there where I showed you to do the user. That allows you to change your password. You don't want to leave it the default because this thing is connected to the internet. And, as such, that could be a security risk. Like I said, you can control the temperature of the, printer through the app. So be safe. Have a great night. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Definitely, hopefully the video was a little bit better than the one that I did last night. And, have a great night.